Figma is a product used by many software development projects. This stock has been in consolidation for some time post IPO last year, but do we know which way it will break out? That depends on who is holding the supply, doesn't it? Before investing in Figma, watch this video first. Most retail investors study charts and indicators, and that is a great strategy, but we take a different approach here. We're going to analyze Figma through the lens of institutional investors by zooming in on where the smart money is and who is in control of the supply. See, on Wall Street, the smart money calls it feeding the chickens. That's when institutional investors accumulate stock early, then distribute it back to retail investors for profit, leaving them holding the bag. From what I see, institutional investors are accumulating the stock, and hopefully, you're not a chicken waiting to be fed. If you are invested in Figma, hit the like so I know, and stay tuned for the entire analysis as we learn more about this stock. If you are still on the fence about investing in it, you might find it a bargain that you are looking for. It is important to note this video is for educational purposes and should not be used as financial advice. Bottom finders are not financial advisors, but a group of very smart technologists that know how to model data and perform quantitative analysis. Before we start, we kindly ask you to subscribe. We are a young channel and truly appreciate your support as we analyze popular stocks every day. Also, feel free to tell us what you think about Figma in the comments below. And with that, let's kick it off. Figma is a cloud-based design and collaboration platform used to create user interfaces, and they're typically called UI, or user experiences, and those are called UX, and interactive prototypes for websites and mobile apps. In simple terms, it is a tool that lets designers, product teams, and developers build and edit digital products designed together in real time, similar to how Google Docs work, but for design. Jumping right into Bottom Finder's supply and demand charting, here we are looking at a chart that displays demand, institutional holdings, and retail holdings. The green line is the demand, and that typically oscillates between the 40 and the 60. Anything below 40 is the demand zone, and anything above 60 is the supply zone. Currently, Figma is sitting at 44, which gives it a lot of room for a run-up in demand. The supply is currently in the hands of institutions. So we could see here, as of early March, they have made a run for accumulating the stock, and they have certainly gotten a hold quite the supply. And at the same time, we have seen retail investors, for the most part, get spooked out of their position and sell it off. So the supply had traded hands from retail investors and into the institutional hands. Looking at the balance of the volume, which is the net of inflow and outflows, anything below zero belongs to institutional investors, and anything above zero is retail investors. So we clearly see here, as of the start of the year, the lion's share of the volume has gone to institutional investors, and they're clearly holding onto it. Now, looking at the chart itself, which we're going to see some other renditions of it. The interesting point here is it IPO'd back in August, and you just saw it run down the entire time. It did get pushed down, but notice that between here and here is $40 gap, right? So there is, it's sitting there hovering around the $20 range. But if we go to the 3 month, we see a high of 32. So the look of the graph from its inception is somewhat deceiving. Another key area to notice is certainly the volume that's happened since about the beginning of the year. This is a tremendous amount of volume compared to the volume that's happened over the past 6 months or so. An area that we cover in our analysis is who is holding the stock itself. We are interested in seeing how much of the institutions are holding, and here we do see over 70% of the institutions, and that's quite the sum. So there is pressure on that stock to perform. It's not the institutions simply buying and holding; they are looking for profit to take. Some of them do include them in their funds, but a large portion of them are interested in making this a successful uh, purchase for them. So we see here quite the variety. The one thing to note is that we don't see the typical big three, which is Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. Those are the ones that we look for, but there are plenty in here, and there are some in here that have stock valued at over $1 billion. So they certainly are going to be looking at getting their money back on this. So they're not going to let the stock just continue to decline. Another area that we like to look at in Yahoo Finance is the statistics, which reveals how big is the float, and it also tells us how much of the float is being shorted. To start off with, the float is 217 million. So this is smaller than your average size. An average float is around 500 million. A big float is about a billion, and anything above that, it just gets somewhat unwieldy. This affects as to how the price moves, based on events. The bigger the float, the smaller the move, but the smaller the float, the bigger the move. Another interesting data point in this to look at is the percentage of the float that's being shorted. So it is sitting at 26%. Now that's a large percent. That's huge. There are a lot of shorts. Now I can't imagine anyone would be looking to short this stock at anywhere near this level. This is the lowest level it's been at this point. This is a 3 month um, price action chart that we're looking at, and this is the lowest level it's been at, and it's sort of clawing back up to where it was at the previous low. But I think at this point, it's not going to take much. Once you push the price up, you're going to see a lot of shorts unwind their position and begin to close out. And when shorts close out, that means they're purchasing the stock. And when you have 26% of 217, that probably puts you to the tune of 50, 60 million shares. So all of those have to be purchased, something that is worth noting. And when you have that much purchasing going on, that price is going to have to move. Continuing on with the analysis, looking at the all-time chart, which is really back to August of last year, we do see it come down, but it sort of appears to have leveled out here, okay, with a range between, I would say, 17 and 32. So we see that, and we are more on the bottom side of that range. Now, at Bottom Finders, we are specifically looking for bottoms, and we do consider Figma to be at a bottom, minus the fact that it IPO'd and just continued its decline. And we're going to talk a little bit more as to why we think that decline is happening. Take it back to about 3 month range and look at where that sits and where the price sits. Another element to analyze on the chart is the MACD, and I typically don't use the MACD in my trading, but I know many traders do, and it has relevance. We do see it moving up while the price is moving down, and this would be considered a divergence. And one last chart before we jump over to news. This is the supply and demand charting on the aggregate over at Bottom Finders. This is for the past 2 weeks. So what we're doing here is looking at technology. This is the institutional holdings, and this is the demand. And for technology in general, we do see the institutional holding is coming down, which is really the supply, and the demand is coming up. So on the past 2 weeks alone, we've seen the demand go from 49 to 55, and so it's increasing. The specific industry that Figma belongs in is the prepackaged software. This is also reflecting that the supply is decreasing, which is the institutional holding, and we're also seeing the demand somewhat increase. It's software packaging or prepackaged software has taken a beating over the past 6 months to a year, and this was the result of AI taking over some of the software that is available. And as a technologist, I have issues with that because probabilistic models are not databases. They're not deterministic. They give you a different answer every time you ask the same question. And this is a problem in system development and application development. So while it may have this aura of AI taking over some of the SaaS tools or any of the tools that are out there, that's highly unlikely. Now, looking down at the actual numbers, we do compare the last trading day with the past 2 weeks. This here is the industry that Figma belongs in. The last trading day versus the past 2 weeks, we see an increase in demand of 3 points. And then we also see a decrease in supply. And that could be help Figma in its case to move up. So now here's what the news has to say about Figma. And the reason we analyze the news is because it is the messaging that institutional investors are creating in the ether. Figma stock fell 16% in April, according to Yahoo Finance, as investors reassess growth expectations and broader tech market weakness weighed on sentiment. Analysts remain split, with some questioning whether the recent pullback presents a buying opportunity or signals deeper downside risk. Adding to the volatility, according to Sherwood News, New AI competition headlines emerged after Anthropic launched its Claude design product. This is important here because this is what's really affecting the stock. The announcement sparked concern that emerging AI tools could challenge traditional design platforms, sending both Figma and Adobe shares lower in response. More recently, Indexbox reports highlight that Figma remains under pressure, down roughly 16% in April alone amid ongoing uncertainty tied to AI disruption fears and shifting investor expectations. But despite the sell off, CoinCentral commentary suggests the stock, down nearly 50% year to date, may be approaching a potential turning point, with investors debating whether the worst of the decline is now behind it. In summary, Figma remains at the center of a key market narrative. Strong long term growth potential weighed against short term AI disruption, risk, and valuation compression. And much like the news, let's see what AI has to say about Figma. This is important because AI can find data smart money does not want retail investors to know. So, after a strong demand and heavy oversubscribing listing, the stock surged before entering a prolonged sell off. Now down more than 80% from its peak, that move reflects a clear distribution phase as early investors and insiders steadily reduce exposure. So everyone that was a part of the IPO essentially cashed out. So that's where we saw the distribution. And that's very common, as I will show with Facebook in closing. Recent activity showed limited broad institutional buying, with trading dominated by reduced participation and cautious positioning. Insider selling has also persisted, reinforced the view that much of the early smart money has already exited. Now, insider trading really accounted for just a couple of percent, so there isn't really as much as AI seems to think. That said, analysts point to continued revenue growth and emerging AI driven product opportunities as reason some long term investors are beginning to selectively re enter at lower levels. So that's them saying that, where they will begin to incorporate AI into their product rather than just users going out and using that Claude design. In terms of capital flow, Figma has transitioned from heavy IPO inflows to significant post IPO outflows, with only early signs of stabilization in 2026. So it started to stabilize. In summary, smart money is no longer aggressively selling. It's an important point, but it's also not fully back in. And I think that's also an important point, because once it comes back in, then off to the races and we miss the bottom. The stance remains neutral, with a cautious early accumulation at depressed valuations. So now this brings us to what Bottom Finders thinks of Figma. I know Figma by the work I do in IT. Figma is a popular tool in software engineering circles, and many teams and projects use it. One of its key tools is the user interface design capability. It is powerful and fills a niche. That does not make it infallible, but it is a tool that may not be worth reckoning with. Its main competitor in this space is Adobe, so it has to stay on top of its game. Figma has recently IPO'd, and it is dealing with the post IPO turbulence. When Facebook IPO'd in 2012, it started in the mid 30s, dipped down to the teens, and then soared ever since. This is not uncommon, but we see some different dynamics here. This time, it is AI that is threatening Figma's existence. So let's talk AI. AI flipped our civilization on its head. Companies don't know if they are coming or going. They blindly change their models and begin implementing anything AI just to say they are doing AI. Believe me, I know. This led to a fervor that had no ROI and bleeding money everywhere. Yes, AI is great, but it has a purpose. Probabilistic models like LLMs are 90% of the hype, and they are great with discovering intent, creating content, and proofreading. But they are not databases, which is where companies needed them to perform. While the push to improve LLM will continue and code generation will save on cost, but developing systems from architecture to the infrastructure will not be created by AI. And that goes for user interfaces as well. The reason Figma is under pressure is because of the recent threat by Claude. And they are not alone. Adobe's stock took a hit too. Asking Claude to create an interface on a basement project is far different from asking it to do so on a corporate setting. Companies take interface development seriously and may not be interested in spending time on a 2-page prompt asking an AI engine to develop an interface that will get you 50% of the way. The other 50% is cleaning up what AI did not get correctly and then implementing what the interface should really look like. The real impact on the creation of user interfaces will be the AI tools inside of Figma that will be used to perfect what the interface developer is asking Figma to do, not Claude generating it from scratch for you. I would not get wrapped around the Claude yoke about how Claude will solve world hunger, but how will Figma take advantage of the AI tooling within its suite of products? Your confidence in Figma should be based on their technology advancement, not what Claude will replace it, because companies that use Claude to create the interface will only be the freelancers on Fiverr.com. I love them freelancers, but it's not a corporate setting. Bottom Finder's charts say this stock is pent up and may be ready to pop at any time. The timing is unknown, but it should be soon. The institution investors are clearly holding the supply. The demand is in place where it needs to turn back up. And when that happens, we expect the price of the stock to rise with it. They have institutional backings over 70% ownership. They are top notch technology and software engineering, and their fundamentals are nothing to shake a stick at. The stock is heavily shorted with a small float of 217 shares. This stock I'd refer to as springy and may surprise us all. This is not a junk stock, so there's more to meat than meets the eye. We think the Claude news is transitory and will pass, as we do not see companies relying solely on Claude to create interfaces. We strongly believe Figma will be the tool of choice now and in the future. Smart money is gaming this stock, and you should do your own research to determine if it's the right ride for you. We hope this video gives you insight on where the smart money is. Be sure to leave a comment on where you stand with this stock. Your experience might help others in deciding their next move. Also, be sure to subscribe and give the video a like. We truly appreciate your support. Until the next video, trade smart and be patient for the right deal to come along. Adios!